this straightens itself out a few tries, so please hang in there. A good still on my end, and just no explanation. But every time I try to set the check that we don't control, YouTube said stream interrupted. I think we might have it. Persistent though. Hi there. I think we have audio sometimes if there's not much chat or if I'm just trying to gather my wits, I will work quietly. How are you doing, Runic Workshop? Good to see you. Hello, everybody out there. Got the focus way in tonight. See, there I went and talked, and half half the crowd just ran away. Uh, it's YouTube. I mean, who knows what works? I am above and beyond it. Taking a break from effect study. Relax with pebbles. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds like hard work. Oh, special effects. All right. Well, it just got more interesting then. My brain to cause and effect study, which just sounded tedious. Yeah. So above and beyond it. Jurgen, hello. Good to see you. Really good to see you. Been a wild day around the parts. I figured a little bit of drawn circles on paper might help us soothe our frazzled nerves. Let's see if I can keep things in frame on this. As I was starting the stream, it just I've been having a hard time lately with YouTube. I try to start the stream and then it just um, well, you guys know if you watch on your end because you get the buffering thing, and on my end it's just like stream interrupted, and um, I don't know why. I have a couple of theories about it. Have to do with notifications, and then I have a suspicion somebody might be doing a report stream right as the notifications go out. But if that's what's going on, I think the person will eventually learn that I am nothing if not persistent. So, I do indeed. I make a big stack of. We usually have. Oh, the focus is really close, but yeah, there's. I try to keep a really, a good, at least 20 or more what I call blanks ahead of time, so that I can just grab them and then we can uh, yeah, and I worked on some today using some of the paints that use graphite in them, which is an interesting effect. Since we're close up, maybe I'll give it a try. But the one of the pigments contained in these colors is black lead. So when you burnish it, it gets just a little bit of a sheen to it that comes up. Oh, kind of just as a little flash of light there. So I put a layer on a stack of. I like circling them. I, um, might be a tad bit drab for. Um, I think when watching, like, it's more fun to watch bright colors. Hi, Jessica Lynn. Hi, Quilts. Quilts. Yeah. Hang on a minute. I'm going to zoom out, so um, don't let it spin you. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Yeah. Is that better? We can see the whole picture. Hi, it's nice to see everybody in here. It's nice to see you, Jessica. So what's going on, you guys? Working on some quilt, what kind of chocolates? Quilts are not chocolate. I'm going to take your word on that. I wasn't too sure about pickles and chocolate, but might be okay. Don't take me too seriously. My snack was crackers with peanut butter and a piece of cheese. So, I mean, what do I know from taste? Ooh, see where Jessica is. Um, yeah, we've got snow forecast for this week. I went out earlier today and um, oh, it was cold. So cold. Definitely winter. But the sun was out, so that was nice. And I went down to a local place that a taco shop, and they make burritos. They make burritos. I think I could probably get one in the afternoon if I wanted. I don't think they shut their menu off at 10:30 like some other places. So, all right, Quilts is reporting peanut butter cream centers dipped in peanut butter chocolate and strawberry creamy centers dipped in peanut butter chocolate. Ooh, that sounds like a really delicious peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Yeah, YouTube be wacky. Exactly. Yeah, if I ever figure it out, it'll be a wonder. Yeah. So I've got a YouTube tip. This just came up in another channel that I was looking in on, and they were mentioning the blocked words list and managing moderators. If you're running a channel, you're a content creator, and you've not explored your community moderation tools, I invite you to do so. If you poke around in that menu, you'll find something called a blocked words list. Now, if you've got a managing moderator, they can access this. So be careful about making random people managing moderators, because it can actually, managing moderators can access a lot of tools. Um, I like to think that most people don't do that for nefarious purposes, but it can be. But you definitely, as a channel owner or someone who's running a channel, you've got some responsibilities under your YouTube terms of service to not allow some types of things to roll through your chat. And you can handle that as it comes up by reaching out and deleting comments. I prefer to handle those kinds of things preemptively. And one of the ways that you can do that is to go to your words list and you can populate that list with all kinds of words. And it could be anything from the three big subjects that YouTube likes to, well, it doesn't like to. It just sets a community standard on things, topics that can be discussed. And there are some things that have to do with mental health that we know discussion of these topics can be triggering and can be dangerous to young people who suffer from particular disorders or mental health struggles. So I'll continue to go look at YouTube terms of service to see what those are. If you don't know them off the top of your head, you should definitely go and spend a little bit of time and educate yourself about what those are. But we kind of know them, right? Because we use terms like unalive, and there's some other ones that are of that nature. So one of the ways that you can prevent that discussion from even entering your chat is to populate your blocked words list. Now, mine is populated with everything from things that I consider to be hate speech or slurs, references to historical figures, World War II, um, anything that's homophobic or, I mean, I think you're getting my drift on the types of things. So you can also include personal information that's something you wouldn't want somebody to come into your chat and announce about you. Like, maybe you're the town you live in or the street or, some identifying information. Bear in mind that if you have a managing mod and you've, say, for example, your actual last name on the blocked words list, a managing moderator will be able to access that and look at it. But if you don't want somebody to come into your chat and dox you, as I've seen happen, um, that's one way to preemptively stop that from happening. So I also include sexist terms or words that are profane, things that could be offensive. And it's up to you to, I mean, you might be a fan of chocolate. Maybe you don't want maybe vanilla mentioned in your chat. You can add that in there. So uh, I have found that even a small channel like mine does get those kinds of challenges in the vertical live stream format. So I'll occasionally have a troll who go, "Hey, did you see my comment? Did you see my comment? Did you see?" Well, I didn't have to. None of us had to see your comment. And that's the YouTube tip of the day, I think. I think in general, there are some tools that help us to handle things just ahead of time before they actually come in, and then, you don't want to be in the middle of doing what you're doing and then have somebody come in and just say something really hateful or awful. Um, because in my experience, the first time that happened in here, it just really threw me. I actually like got so flummoxed that I stopped the live. I was just a few minutes into it, and somebody came in and started something, and I was absolutely discombobulated by what they said, and ended up stopping the live stream and restarting it. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why that's fun to somebody to do that to another person, but we do have that element, um, particularly in the vertical live feed format. I will say I recommend this if you're starting a channel and you're trying to get your subs built up. That running in this format with a setting of putting the chat on subscribers only, it it encourages people to subscribe, and I'm always glad to have folks in the chat if they're, particularly if they're creative. And I mean, if you're human, you probably are creative. It's just a matter of finding the media for you. I'll have people tell me all the time, "Hey, I'm really creative." I'm not sure I believe that. I believe that you are. I think you just haven't, you haven't discovered the right kind of paper and the right kind of pen for drawing circles on paper. But I really think, I think most people just, it's in us. It's in the way our minds work to make something out of the things that are around us in the world. So, yeah, I've talked to a few people who say, "Boy, I never get anywhere with the vertical," and or a new channel that's afraid to set it to subscribers only. When I set my chat open, I tested this out. You can test it out on your channel if you like. Because when I first started the vertical live streaming, I'd let the chat be open, and I'd pick up one subscriber every 3 or 4 live streams. But when I switched over and made it subscribers only, almost every live stream I'll pick up. It's rare that I don't pick up a subscriber during a live stream, and I very often will pick up a good half dozen or more. So that's something to consider if you are going to grow your channel subscribers. And to anybody who is subscribing, I want to just tell you I really appreciate that so much. And I hope that you'll enjoy the content here. And I hope that you'll feel free to ask any kind of questions or yeah, be being kind or just talking about art supplies and stuff like that in the chat to each other is uh, really, really glad to do. So this particular piece just has watercolor on it. I sometimes will work in other media as well, usually like water-based types of things for this. Um, that's a good question. Runic asks, is the wait time matter? Now, I played around with it. I found if I had subscribers only with no wait time, I still got trolls. And if I set it at 5, that was too. It seemed like I would have people come in and they would say, "Oh, I had to wait for 5 minutes." Well, and think about what you can do in 5 minutes. Like if you go, oh, I really want to talk and it's 5 minutes, you go, oh, I've got time to go down the hall. I've got time to get a glass of water. And then you're down the hall in the bathroom and you're like, oh, well, I'll clean the cat box. And it squirrels people off. I found for me, what works is 1 minute. 1 minute is more patience than the trolls seem to have. I mean, I probably lost 95% of the trolls when I set it at 1 minute. And most people who are watching art or thinking about art, they can keep their attention on you for a minute. They're willing to wait to talk to you for 1 minute. If you get beyond that, it becomes kind of punishing to people, and I never want to punish my audience. I just want to keep us relatively troll free. So that's another reason why I think people who've been around YouTube for a minute know, hey, if it's subscribers only, I'm going to be able to be in there and I'm not going to have to deal with the, obnoxious 13-year-old humor running through. So, I mean, if you set it on 1 minute, like it's a little bit of a threshold, it's just enough to keep the nasty floodwaters of trolls from washing over what you're doing. And it's not too punitive, it's not too much of a barrier for people who do want to kind of hang out with you. You can always, if you do get trolled, you can always go in and bump that up to 5 minutes. So, and it would take some really persistent trolls. Like I was working in anti-cult protest, so I've developed a handful of very persistent trolls. But Runic, you're working in a different corner of YouTube, so you probably are not going to get somebody who's just has enough hate to hang out for 5 minutes to get in there. But it's just, I have found, and it surprised me, but I found a lot of people are willing to subscribe if you simply invite them to do so. And I think I make a point of explaining why I set the chat the way I do. Hey, Pup Groomer. Hey, Jan. Yeah, Jen runs an arty chat every night. Hangs out with arty people. If you get a chance, Jen, check out the Runic Workshop and Quilts and Chocolates. Quilts makes chocolate and does quilts and talks about cool stuff on Wednesdays and Fridays. And the Runic Workshop is, oh my golly, that table. I'm still just thinking about that table you put together. Oh, yeah. It's almost Japanese. Reminded me of, is it Tanaka? That Japanese furniture maker. The aesthetic on that table, just absolutely gorgeous. And you're welcome. Yeah, I know quite a few of you from now that little branch of YouTube are just working really hard and hustling hard to get your channels going. So, hey guys, I think I might have managed to use up another pen. Probably didn't need two of them out. I think we were 3 weeks on that one, so I'm really liking these. Of course, the kind of the big daddy of the pigment pens is Pigma Micron, made by Sakura in Japan, but I picked up a box of these accurate technical pens, and they seem to last 3 or 4 times the amount and cost about a third of the price. So nice. Jen is working on a paint box. And good thinking there, because they'll swipe yours if you don't give them their own. So anyway, I think we fully covered the question on what the time interval and what works, but yeah, you may find subscribers only with no wait time works better on your channel, Runic. Just give it a try, and if you find that you're getting trolls on the vertical, just try 1 minute. And I mean, I really thought, oh, it's going to take 5 minutes. And like they can't even the ones that want to come in and make the scatological comments and just, uh, ask you for a shout out, or if they anybody who comes in and says, "Hey, would you say happy birthday to my mother? Her name is," as soon as you say it aloud, you realize that it was a prank. Um, but they don't seem to have even a 60 alligator count to wait to get there. They'll just scroll on and pester somebody else. So, yeah. Oh golly, heading to Vegas. What's the weather gonna be? We've got forecast up here in Oregon. Just, ooh. So Runic, you only need 50. And once you get your 50 subscribers, there's a little bit of a certification or a verification thing that you need to do. Um, have you downloaded the YouTube Studio app? Because you'll want to do that. That's an easy way to do your verifications and get some better analytic information um, on your channel. And as you can see, I don't try for perfection. I just I'm a I'm big on just crank them out, just do them, because you will get better as you go. And no amount of thinking about it on the back end of it is going to make your videos better. What makes your videos better is making videos, making live streams. So, oh, good, all right, that helps. I mean, I thought, oh, I just need 50 and then I can go. And I was like, pushing the button. It's like, no, you have to do some stuff. And it was like another several days. So, yeah, all right. Well, that's good. You know what? I'm gonna go over to Turner's tonight and just tell everybody to sub to you. I've been known to turn a channel or two over to 50 just overnight. Just because it amuses me to do so. I know it's a good time, right? Yeah. Do you follow Dan K. Runick? He's doing fantastic. He was one of the people. He was hanging out in my chat, and I was egging him on to get going. And I think he's doing just really, really. It's just terrific to see that go for him. Oh my golly, Elegant Woodcraft. He's Dan K. He's one of the mods over in Turner's chat, and you probably already know him and love him. Elegant Woodcraft. And it's just elegant with a capital E space, and then capital W craft. I think it's I know it's all one word. Yeah, see, Dan. And he's set up a fairly, well, to him he says it's a simple wood crafting setup in his garage. To me, it looks like a whole workshop. And he runs a live on Wednesdays, or I'm sorry, on Saturdays. So, little something to look forward to on the weekend there. I feel really fortunate to have uh, sort of been invited over to the woodcrafting and fishing lures and fishing channels because I was really getting stalled out where I was. And I don't know if Jen's still in here, but I think Jen, I think you know what I'm talking about, how you can just get stalled out over in the that other corner. And I'm just delighted to hang out with some people who are kind to each other and who they're not snarking at each other, and there's in the chat, and there's a lot of dynamic positive growth, just people just boosting each other up instead of trying to feed off of each other. And um, that's made um, kind of made an opportunity for me to break out of the rut I was in. And sometimes it's hard to know. Like, you can be in a really dark corner of the internet and not even be aware that that's where you are until you come out and check out some other things. And I'm trying to be circumspect about it, but anyway. Yeah, right? I know, isn't he? Dan, Runic Workshop. So if Dan is watching on replay, he's gonna be. I hope he's not too embarrassed and like everybody's talking about me. This is just technically gossip, you know. If you're talking about a third party and they're not there, and it doesn't really matter if you're speaking well of them or ill of them. It is a bit of gossip, and I'm aware to try to cut down on that. You know, who knows? Who knows? I don't know if I succeed in cutting down on the gossiping, but anyway, so Workshop says he's quite humble about his ability to refresh. It sure is, and I just really love the way he explains what he's got going on, and you know, he's working on a display box with a blind dovetail joint, which to me is, well, that's some fancy level woodworking, and you know, he's just talking people through it. So, yeah, yeah. So Jen says, I am, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, it's frustrating to get stalled out, and you feel like, what am I doing? You know, it seems like I'm doing something, and other people are doing the same things, and you know, they're making moves, and you know, I think what we've seen in the last couple of weeks here, I know some people were making moves, and they were violating the YouTube terms of service to do that. And it's really discouraging, I think, to some other people who are looking at that going, golly, I'm doing the work and I'm not getting those gains. What's up with that? Well, it's not always as straightforward as you might think. And also, like, you do have to switch it up from time to time. If you're locked in and you're working to the same crowd, you know, you might have to take a sidestep and work to a bit of a different crowd. Because it is, if you're doing the same thing and you're hoping for different results, you know, what the saying is about that. If you do the same thing and you expect different results, that's a little bit of, um, yeah, I'm trying not to say that's crazy, but it's, yeah, it's a bit of a thinking problem. If you're like, oh, well, I just do the same thing, but I'll do it harder. I'll do more of what I'm doing. you're going to get more of what you've been getting. So, yeah, you just you just have to. Sometimes you really have to, if you want to, if you want to stay doing the same, if you want to stay there in the same spot, that's okay. There's nothing. There's, there's good places in life. Sometimes it's nice to be there where you are with who you're there with, but it's not always compatible with channel growth. So for me, now this isn't going to work for you particularly, Jen, because you're pretty much you're daily with it. Um, I try for like 3 times a week, and I switch up the days and times, and um, that worked for a while, and then I had to branch out into um, other niche areas and make other places as well, and that's helped. That's that's expanded the audience, and it's also um, I've I've seen new channels which I just am loving to watch the new things that people are making. I do think I do. I think I've got the corner on the market on drawing circles on paper though. So yeah, yeah. Well, and you can pop me an email on that and just let me know how you feel about it. You might be okay where you're at, but if you're feeling, you can start to feel. It just depends on how you feel about it. It's neither good or bad. It just, um, yeah. Let's get some gel markers. I haven't used these things in quite a while. It's always good to break into the art supplies and maybe go for a little bit of brown here. So, if you're familiar with the Faber-Castell product gelatos, the gelatos were I I suspect there's probably another company that came out with something like this, and then Faber-Castell bought them. But they're stick, and they're gel-based water media. And what are the odds I actually have a piece of paper cut? Hot dog. I work paper. That's where we're at. There we go. So mine are, oh golly, I'm probably 10 years old anyway. But they glide onto the paper pretty easily. They were sold and marketed towards maybe rubber stamping was the first time that I saw them. And now you can get these are called twistable colors. Same sort of thing. Came in a set of 12, and probably got the probably got the box of these for about the cost of a couple of the other ones. And let me grab a brush here. They, they're water soluble, which is kind of fun. In fact, um, they're blendable, and I think if you activate them with water, they dry down and they don't rub off the paper. So I think they're really intended to be used with some water, although used for mark making. When I've used them in art journals that way, they have, come back 6 months later and the page will have rubbed onto the other page. Whereas if it's activated with water, then it dries down more like a paint and you don't have that transfer problem. So you can blend them, you can get water and activate them that way. They'll work. They'll work with watercolor media. You can just go right into your. I've got a palette just off screen here, so you can just get a lovely, gooey, colorful thing going with them. This is very immediate explosion color with a little water, and pretty reasonably priced. These twistable colors are by a company Montmart, and may or may not have the lid right here. You guys should know by now, that means I do. So this company seems to make student grade art supplies at very reasonable prices. I've seen them, I think I've seen them at like Michael's Crafts. I know I bought this set at Dick Blick Art Materials. So it was right around 10 or 12 bucks. So pretty reasonably priced. I just want to throw some hot pink in the middle of that. Okay. And one of the ways I like to use these is on top of the pebble paintings. I love to use the white to create some highlights. Got this crazy bright opera pink from Daniel Smith that is just insanely fluorescent. It has a really low light fast rating, so it won't take long for this to be just pink and not fluorescently pink. So there's a little watercolor paint. And let's just go for broke and throw in some Neocolor 2. Another water-soluble media. And this one is basically a crayon. And as the water starts to hit that, it begins to bleed out. See how it's just making a run for the wet areas. Nothing too technical about that. All right. Now there's the Neo color also has quite a range, and I got this. This was one of the newer ones. I got Sahara Yellow. It's not quite as stark as the white, and I'm looking for areas where the rocks overlap, and one rock might be a little higher than the rock next to it. And those are the areas I'm going to make into highlights, so that will bring them up visually. And I can just blend that right in with that gel marker. Not being too precious with this, just kind of going for it. And bear in mind, I've been working on these for 6-8 months on this series of paintings with the rocks. So if you're just sketching pebbles or something like it for the first time, give yourself some grace. Take the time to slow down and visualize what you're seeing. I've been practicing this, so it comes quite a bit faster for me than it did at first, for sure. At first, sometimes I just, um, I mean, if you were here at the channel early, you would have seen me just taking a couple minutes just to sort of visualize things and look at them. Hey, Jody. Cheese pebbles. They do kind of look like violently Kraft macaroni and cheese. Cheesy pebbles. Sounds like the worst breakfast cereal ever. Oh, Jody, we're getting snow this week, aren't we? It's crazy. Crazy how chilly it was out today. I'm thinking. I think I was gonna go with a Payne's gray for the shadows, but I think I might start. You know how it goes, digging through the 19 different palettes I always have here. And where will it be? always the last place you look. Um, yeah, I started to listen to. I know we've got like 6 days of cold snap coming, and I heard that there was a um, possibility of snow towards the end of the week, and then I'm old and cranky. I recommend this if you can start being old and cranky at any age. I always went, I don't like the sound of that forecast, and I shut it off. So, and I will for several days be telling myself we may or may not be having snow in 6 days. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with sepia. It's a good neutral, and I'm just gonna drop that down in the spots where the rocks overlap, but it's the low area. So that's gonna create a shadow, and that will develop that three-dimensional effect. Now, most of my work is fairly graphic and fairly flat, so um, I use techniques like this to help the work not look quite so flat. But does it beginning to show how we start to see a little bit of dimension in the pebbles? Shoto! Hello, welcome in. Yeah. Oh, nice. Sometimes on the drive to Portland, you can even see Mount Adams. Um, yep, yep. Yeah, Mount Hood, as seen from I-5 in northwest Oregon, is one of the most spectacular views. There's something about the winter air that just magnifies it, and it's really, really beautiful. Yeah. Um, yeah, no face, you were here late, so you missed the graphic content. It's just your own fault for coming in late. No, but I mean graphic in the sense of versus realistic. Like a comic book style that would be considered graphic, or advertising is usually represented in a bit of a more graphic. Yeah, so yeah, Jody, have you tried Axel's Taco Shop yet? 'Cause I had a burrito from there this morning, and it was like the thing was, it was I I had it for breakfast and I had the other half of it for lunch. So, oh, they might have one down there. Um, they've got, yeah, they've got one on out on Lancaster. Now that you say Edgewater, now I'm gonna have to check that out. But I've been trying to go to little places when I go through towns instead of going to the big chains. And I know they've got a location in Bend, I think. And they were like really friendly and nice, and it was um, the burrito had. You guys want to know what my breakfast was? I know this will be super exciting content, but it had eggs and ham, cheese and potatoes, and then I had them add a little sour cream, and then they've got the salsa bar. So I had some roasted chipotle and some of these little places they just have like tons of stuff in the like the condiment area, and they had a like a hot pan at the end of the condiment bar that was full of roasting peppers and onions. So you could about like a little to take with you. Um, you know, I'm over there like filling up the carton and just like make my burrito fast. There she goes. She's at the salsa bar. So yeah, I usually when I'm through town and I like to get um, their chicken. Uh, oh, it'll come to me. My brain's kind of fried from the day. Um, oh, I can't think of what it's called. They're deep fried, like they're rolled in a burrito, and they're cut on the diagonal. You get four of them, and they're just covered with guacamole and sour cream and lettuce and pico de gallo and golly, make you all hungry. Y'all be running off and to get some dinner. Hey, pondfish. Yeah, I never really get to the menu. I see their pictures that are on the window of the place, and I end up in there just go, I'll have some of that. So, and then once I find something that's tasty, I'm just like, I'll get hungry for it and go, wow, I'll have to go down and have that one thing. And it's hard to branch out when you find something you like. So this is just a little water on the brush, and it very quickly just blends that media right in, and it will activate the watercolor underneath of it if you are working it very hard. But we just really quickly turn that into a fairly subtle kind of a highlight. They're bigger than taquitos. Although they're rolled beef tacos that are rolled in corn tortillas and topped with guacamole. Uh, those are delicious. Chicken, golly, why won't my brain cooperate? Yeah, I'm trying to try trying to tell Jody about this taco place that has opened up. That's um, a local place, and like you roll up to the drive-through and they ask you what you want in Spanish. So that's right there is a good sign. Um, no, something in between a chimichanga and a taquito. Flauta. Chicken. I think it's chicken flautas, and you can get them with beef. But I like the chicken uses sort of an adobo, a smoked chili sauce on it, and it's like $9. And there's you can feed a couple people with that. You could probably feed. I don't know if you've got kids you're feeding, but I know I will always have some of it and then put it away, and then I could get two meals and a snack out of $9. So, oh man, No Face might have us there. He says a three cheese manicotti, checkmate. Uh, my mom used to get the Ronzoni manicotti, and there's a recipe. Last time I was at the store, I looked at it. Still has the recipe on the back, and you stuff them with mozzarella and you brown the hamburger, and there's some onions in it, and then it's just got like a jar of ragu poured over the top. It's still one of my favorite ways to have manicotti. Yeah. I don't know why. I'm just so enthused about my burrito this morning. It was so cold. I woke up and I was just cold, and my breakfast food here was kind of the fruit and yogurt. And I was like, that's not going to work this morning. I'm too cold. I need some hot food. So, and ventured out and wandered over to town and uh, nothing quite like what are the. I think hot breakfast is a simple pleasure in life. So, no face, is that your dinner tonight? It sounds really good. I know. Yeah, $9, but it's like a big square just piled into the big square food container with oh, they probably put, I want to say between, oh, it's probably a third of a cup of sour cream in there, probably a quarter to a half cup of guacamole on. Um, it's stuck four of these things in here, and they're cut in half, and one half of one is probably a serving. It's just a crazy amount of food, which I'm on my good old disability income, so I'm like, anytime if somebody wants to give me a crazy amount of food for $9, I'm there. Yeah. Yeah, I am. I am on very early quilts. Quilts is still wearing her day clothes. It's true. It it's a struggle to get the stream going, uh, because I just stream on 5G. I'm very high speed, low drag about how I do this at this point because my channel's just it's coming up. It doesn't need to be terribly fancy, and also I'm I'm not really here doing tutorials. I'm just here to make a little space for people to come in and talk about the creative process and talk about art and also burritos. So and my schedule is a little bit wild, but it's the live streaming, being able to get stuff uploaded seems to happen a little bit more easily in like what is the middle of the night for me here in Oregon. So um, I figured, given the day today, that I did want to provide a little space for people to come because of what's going on today in the world, and I think it's important that people have a place to come connect and just hang out with other people in a nice place, you know. Oh, thank you so much. Well, that's perfect. Quilt says, I sleep light, so I catch you when I'm not able to sleep. Yeah, I mean, I'm here when I'm not able to sleep. I think a lot of us, it's just, it's crafting for the insomniacs, and that's terrific. We'd have something to do besides play video games on our phones. So, oh, thank you so much. Quilt says, your channel is special. You can talk on anything, and you make us all laugh. Well, good. Well, no face. If you didn't know she could spell it, you should see her make it with X's and O's. It's beautiful. Yeah. I just can't wait for your streams just to see what beautiful quilt's going to be hanging behind you. And when my mom was alive, we would go to Quilt Guild, and there are probably about 130 people, regular attendees at the Quilt Guild each month, and they do a show and tell. And it just was really tough to go back after she passed away because everybody would just come up and say, "Oh, I remember your mom," and it's like, like about the 15th person who comes and tells you a story, it just was more than I could sort of process. And but I really love the part where, you know, quilters of all ages, everywhere from, we had a few in the guild that were teenagers, and some that were in their 80s and 90s, and go up on the stage and hold up their quilts, and just so beautiful and so varied. And a lot of quilters, if you talk to them, they'll say, "Oh, there's no art. I just use the pattern. Oh, I just use the kit." But I always thought that they were tremendously artful. In fact, some of the ladies that were the most humble about it were the ones making the most stunning quilts. The Journey. Well, hello. How you doing, gal? I caught one of those memorial quilt shows you did, and I have uh, I've been working my way through one that's got some of my mom's shirts that is going into it. And, I love what you do with those and just putting them out in the world. The Journey says, "Just making it through the day. How are you?" I am just making it through the day myself. So I'm curious. Like I see that you do the homeschool assignments on your Friday live streams, Quilt and Chocolates, and I wonder, because you just seem to have such a knack for that. Were you a teacher, or did you homeschool? How'd you come into that world? That's an area that's um, just seems like it's expanding, and I think we're probably going to see it expand even more in the next handful of years. And the Journey, unless I miss my guess, you might be venturing into the homeschool world here yourself. Yeah. I just feel like I just know there's a solution out there for your loved one. Ah. Oh, thank goodness. A senior is so close to being home free. God, I remember that. I was just really sick of school when I was at that age, and I was going to take a year off, and then a week after graduation, I was enrolled in classes at the community college. So you never know where a kid's going to go. Just if you guys could just hang in there, we're all out here pulling for you. I don't know. I was in school in the 70s and thought it was hard. I can't imagine for kids today to try to be. Uh, the world just seems to come at them so fast. Well, I tuned in, I think it was maybe a couple of Fridays ago, and there were a couple of people that were showing their squares, and they looked like they were just having such fun making those quilt squares. This is my head going, doesn't know cursive. How the hell is she going to learn calligraphy if she doesn't know cursive? What kind of a prep for a career in art is that? Jeez. Oh yeah, COVID was like, and you could just see it in the way kids were behaving. It's like they need to go hang out with other kids and socialize because like it's just suddenly we had this generation of just animal children where I live. I don't know if they were as um, feral everywhere as they were around here, but my goodness, uh, just I stick to cats. How'd you, Journey? How'd you get old? You're not old enough to have a kid who's a senior. How'd that even happen? Did you just blink twice and there you were? Oh, my brother was that kid. They just, he just said, you can read what I write. Why do I need to learn cursive? And they threatened to not let him out of second or third grade because he just was like, nope, I already know how to write. This is good enough. To this day, he's still, he even prints his signature. And I think he graduated in about 80, mid 80s somewhere. So, yeah. Well, I was married to one, and I said, well, I'm not having any kids until the spouse grows up and stops being childish. I'm still waiting. Yeah, those were pretty good years, I gotta say. The 30s were pretty good too, and the 40s were. The first half of the 40s was just great. They had a they had a double bypass in my like 46 or so. So I would say like the last half of the 40s not as great as the first half, but eventually you get I'm 63 now, and you eventually get old enough you can just ignore entire sections. Like when you're younger, you think you have to hang on to every minute and every year you lived. At 63, I'm like, oh, I'll just ignore half that decade, and I'll just think about, you know, this one, and it's not bad. Getting old's not bad. Oh, I just realized for people watching on replay who don't have live chat, this is gonna just sound crazy, but remember to read the chat. Somebody in the chat says they're 42. I have a baby face, but I'm getting there. And now we're talking about having a baby face back in the day. It's good because like your face will hang in there a long time. You'll still be, you know, you'll be very youthful looking. It only kind of sucks to have a baby face when you're 21 week old and you're trying to buy beer. You've left your ID at home. The rest of your life, it's good to have one of those youthful faces. Oh, well, you'll own him. Uh, the journey says, I have a huge dark spot, and 6 months ago my husband said I had dirt on my face and tried to wipe it off. So, girl, you own him for a couple weeks over that. Sorry, I know. You have to practice the look. Don't you say I've got dirt on my face. Oh, I uh, I discovered Bare Minerals makeup in my 40s, and that was uh, that was a help for stuff like that. It has sunscreen built into it too, so You guys, yeah, I will say, I'll just a shout out Journey and her husband. They celebrated 20 years of marriage. Congratulations, you two. Quite an accomplishment, that. So I'm not being too precise about this. I will come in and just probably put another layer, and I might come in with probably regular colored pencil. I sometimes will use watercolored pencil, but I'm not loving how that dark brown is. It's just being a little bit too assertive, so that's kind of the fun of the water-based media, is you can lift it out. Hey, buddy. Just the singing kitty. You're okay. I have to pay the cat tax of ear rubs. And don't believe her. She got fed right before I started streaming, so she is not starving to death. Mm-hmm. No, 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 no. Journey reports she has owned him for the last month. That plus the plant he tried to throw away. He was doing yard work and took a plant out of a pot. Said leaves were growing out of the middle. I said, yeah, that's the plant. Oh my golly. Oh no, no, no. Oh gosh, no. Don't throw away our plants. Oh no, that's like throwing away the sourdough starter. Good lord, what was he thinking there? That's some that's some deep trouble he's trying to get into. Okay, now you have to tell me what kind of plant it was, because one of my mini incarnations. My family owned flower shops, and I at one point had my own flower shop. So while I was while I was working with my mom, I was the manager of the plant department. So he needs to stop touching things. Indeed, we have to be careful there. Some things, okay. Other things, not so much. You don't want him to completely stop. Oh, a Gerber daisy. Those are, I think of those as being a little finicky to grow. So good job on keeping that going. You want to really freak him out? Just put some cyclamen in pots, because they grow from corms and they die all the way back down. Kind of leave them alone for a minute, and then they start out with the new little tiny baby leaves. Those will definitely look like the. That's just a bucket of potting soil, right? No, not at all. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, any of y'all got a random question for me today? It is too cold for flower. It is not a weed. I want to say those things grow in South Africa. Um, and they might grow. But here, Mr. Journey, the clue is if it's in a pot, If she's put it in a pot, it's probably not a weed. And even if you think it is, if it's in a pot, don't treat it like it's a weed. Ugh, I think I got a little heavy-handed with the highlighter. It's a, it's kind of, you don't have a lot of options. It just kind of goes on. I mean, you get a swath of it if you use these, but um, some fun colors and loosens things up a little bit. Well, Quilts, it was lovely to have you in for the live. Just appreciate you so much. Get some rest. Get some rest. Sweet dreams to you. Um, the orange background is watercolor. Just thinking back, it's been a minute since I did that background. I don't think there was anything really spectacular in it. I think I was just trying out. I got a new set of watercolors. I ordered a palette and Lucas watercolors that are made in the Netherlands. And so I was just trying out some of the paints in this range. And it was the first, no, I think I ordered a couple of half pans of this brand earlier. I really like the way they flowed. I like the vibrancy of the colors. The pigments really on the ground. And so I thought, oh, I'll have more of those. So I ordered the set, and I'm pretty sure it's the, I think we've got permanent red, cadmium red light, and permanent yellow deep on that set. And I was working on basically just pulp 100 pound. So it's got some body to it, but not terribly stiff. And nothing too technical. I mean, I really just get a brush good and wet, slop it in the paint, and use my intuition to move it around, make sure I add plenty of water to it. And then, yeah, I'll stop in and see your live stream on Wednesday, Quilts. Then the pen outline is a permanent pigment-based marker, so I can then come back in with this layer afterwards, and the pen outlines don't move. When I first started doing this, almost all of them I would come in after and do this third layer with the highlights and the lowlights. But quite a few of them recently have just kind of let them stand as is. And now looking at this one, I'm seeing all kinds of places where I do want to create some shadows and create some highlights. So I think it's just the process evolves as you go along. This one uses maybe more of a variety of colors, just when I can bring myself to leave some white areas. I think that really benefits the design, but by the time I start splashing the paint around, I'm just inclined to cover as much space as I can. So yeah, this one, yeah, I'm looking at this in I can kind of tell what needs to happen. If I leave something set for a bit and then I come back to it, I will have, my brain is going, all right, we need some shadows here, we need stuff. Sometimes I'll look at them and it doesn't look like it needs anything. So I tend to work on them over several days to a couple of weeks. So, yeah, I was working on some, I actually painted some sunflowers last couple of live streams, so broke out of the pebble groove a little bit there. Thank you, Jody. I think I'm gonna actually go into my art journal and just paint a page with some sunflowers. I was gonna work on that painting a little bit more, and as I came back and looked at it and went, "Ooh, I think some quinacridone gold over the top of that would be," and then because it's really like the paper is about half this weight, and I just started it as a chalk drawing. I didn't intend it to become a watercolor painting. So I think I'm just going to take the whole idea, transfer it into the art journal, and uh, just paint a page of sunflowers in there, because it was really kind of fun. And then, once you start into something, sometimes your imagination gets going, and you begin to think things like, "Hey, what about some quinacridone gold?" So that was a long-winded way of saying there will be more sunflowers coming. I think it's just fun to look at. There's sort of a repetitive element to it that's quite soothing. I mean, I work with the pebbles because it's got that repetitive shape and it is soothing to watch. So, um, and I don't really want to embark on anything that looks like a tutorial or that's too complex. But I think I think I can adapt that sunflower to something that works with um, mindfulness art in this kind of keeping in the same groove. That just needs off of there. Fixed it, flubbed it. Yeah, I think the one of the pluses with water-based media is just how malleable or how reworkable it is. Is that a word? I mean, you get some water on there and you can just push that paint around and make it do all kinds of things after it seems like it's dried down. Yeah, Jody says, we need all the sun we can get. I agree. There's just something very cheery. And then the homage to the Impressionists, right? Van Gogh and Cezanne also painted quite a few sunflowers as well. What? What? I thought that dark brown was going to be a good choice in there, but as soon as I wet it, it just... So this is Van Dyke Brown, which is one of my new ones. I think this is the first time I've used it, and that and the sepia, and it is just coming to life and sort of taking over the space. What? What? Got the talking kitty going tonight. Alrighty, how are we doing on time there? I think let's just do... I'm gonna let this dry down, and we'll come back to it later. I think I'm gonna find another blank, and we'll do one more pebble drawing and call it an evening. So we did a bright one, and now I think maybe a calm one. Clear a little bit of this out of the way. Searching my brain to see if I can remember. I think this might have had a little cascade green and... who knows? It all becomes paint after a while. So my brain is wondering if there's another rollicking live stream going tonight. Seemed like it was just rolling with live streams today. I think we've got one from Dan K. Hello. Good to see ya. Yeah, I think the Runic Workshop was in here earlier, and we were talking about your channel, Elegant Woodcraft. So, I sent another subscriber your way. Is Turner still rolling? I stopped in and dropped a like before I got started. Ah, did he get to 200 likes tonight? Hmm. Well, he was hitting the 150s pretty regularly there, so which was just it's just it's kind of not sure what the word is. Just like night after night, watching this guy hit 150 likes on his live streams was pretty epic, actually. Pretty cool to see that. So, yeah, it'll get there. I think it's very interesting to see uh, how that was operating. For those of you who are uh, not familiar with CMJ Official, is that the name of the channel he's got going right now? And then my dad always called those fish crappie, but he calls them crappie. Just probably, I don't know if it's regional difference or maybe my dad was just a little strange, but he's making jigs and running a live stream every night and doing a little giveaway when he hits 150 likes. And so this night after night, just like watching for the payout on the slot machine or something to just, racking up those likes. So YouTube, it's just a funny dang thing what we'll sit and watch, huh? Have you had any break in that cold weather out there, or you still? You weren't shoveling snow that I recall, but it was cold. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, we've got cold rolling in out here in Oregon too, so we're in for a week of it. Hell may or may not have frozen over. And, I hope it hasn't, because I have got a huge list of stuff to do. It's such a long list. If hell has actually frozen over, it's gonna be so busy. Oh, dance is 3-ish feet of snow and currently -5. Yikes. So I used to ski quite a lot as a kind of older teenager and college kid, but even like -5 is like, that's too cold for skiing, even, I think. So I have to go, okay, that bad? Do I have to go Google and figure that out for myself? Hey, at least I didn't say it out loud on Turner's channel. It could have been worse, right? Don't mind me, I fish for trout and salmon. Hey, Ernest. How you doing? Yeah, you guys missed. This is what we were working on earlier. Now that I'm looking at that through the camera. It looks like uh, the fluorescent jars of bait you get at the sporting goods store. No, so bright. Well, I was trying to break out of it. I've been working all in these blues and greens lately, and I thought, no, I should just bring a little bit of color, see if we can brighten the day. That's bright. Wow, that's bright. What the heck? Let's do one more, shall we? Oh, I can't stack those there. It's just going to confuse the camera for the focus. This was one we made just the other night using the paint made from rhodonite and some Potter's Pink, which is made from uh, it's made from earth that is, if you think about the pottery that is kind of the pink color, not quite terracotta, but there is a clay that is, well, it's kind of this dusty pink color. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's power baits. I just know it looked like fish eggs. It might have been dyed fish eggs, right? And it came in a probably about yay big around and about that tall, and you'd open it, and oh, it smelled slimy and just ridiculously bright pink or bright fluorescent orange. And you never catch anything with it. That's that's mostly what I recall about it. One of my first jobs in high school, I worked at a this you would probably call it a department store. We have them out here in the Pacific Northwest. Something called Fred Meyer's, and they have a sporting goods and automotive section, and that's where I worked when I was a senior in high school. And fishing tackle, fishing licenses, oil, antifreeze, wipers, car mats, all that, kind of like a small Walmart. Hey, Dan, did you get locked in Walmart last night? We were worried about you. Oh, Ernest knows Fred Meyer. Yeah. Yeah. Bluegill. Bluegill eat everything, huh? And Ernest says I prefer power bait trout worms rather than the eggs, but it is all preference. Yeah, Fred Meyer is Kroger now, so yeah. Back when I was that was a back when I was a kid story. Sorry, a little bit sorry. Yeah, Fred Meyer's used to sell. I used to sell the old pew pews. Lots and lots of good camp gear and. Oof. Oh, when the pen gets over that rhodonite, it makes a scratchy sound. Because rhodonite is it's a mineral ground up, and um, it's kind of funny. Some of these paints, it's just very subtle little things that are sort of unique about them. Oh, and Wasilla. Ernest says the first Fred Meyer ever went to was in Wasilla. Fred Meyer sold everything. Mm. You ever go into Cars in Anchorage? I went there one time with my friend, and it was probably about, I don't know, 12:30 at night. And we walked in, and you could get gear for, the rain gear that you would wear on a fishing boat. You could get ice chest. You could buy a shotgun. You could get, you know, a steak, a bag of potatoes. It's just, yeah, Cars, big grocery store, but it looked like a grocery store, and people would be coming out with shopping carts with food. But you go in it and just, um, I mean, it was just kind of like a Ace Hardware and Whole Foods had a baby that had a friend that was the outdoor gear store all in one place and open 24 hours a day. Oh no. Ernest reports that Cars was bought out by Safeway. I'm gonna just have a minute of silence for that. I'm swearing in my head. Oh man. So Dan says, I mean, if you're gonna have an outfitter shop, Alaska would be the prime location, I would think. Um, well, sure. I mean, it depends, like, because visitors come with a lot of their gear. Um, but the locals kind of know good gear from bad gear. Oh, I got a Bass Pro Shops up there now. Hmm. I'll tell you what I do miss is the used gear shops. Because you could get some great, like, used skis or, you know, uh, down gear or. So I think, if people were moving out, like, they would donate a lot of stuff and it would end up in the either the thrift shops or the used gear shops. And secondhand stores up in Alaska are just, um, I mean, I used to. Um, I used to go to tag sales and thrift shops and stuff like that and pick up stuff here in Oregon out in the counties and take it in and had a regular group of antique stores I could sell stuff to. And you'd have to hustle to find good stuff. But I mean, I got a set of Fiesta wear for like $12. Play settings for 4 one time at like a Goodwill up in Anchorage, and just like amazing buys. And part of it um, is military base up there, right? So when families leave, they would dump all of their cool stuff. And then I think there's also just a turnover of people who come into town and are in for a season and then go out or whatever. But just lots of great gear. I got my painter's easel up there for. Dan K says I did stop by the Bass Pro Pyramid on my to buy things though. Last time I was in one of those places, like snack food section was really good. They had some really good chocolates in that department. So missed opportunity, I say. Well, I'm getting the YouTube interrupting my live stream here, so what you probably would have seen is a bit of buffering. So I'm getting close to the cutoff time, so if it cuts out again, we're probably going to call it a night. I want to thank everybody who came in and chatted. Uh, if you leave me a thumbs up, I really appreciate that. And to the new subscribers and anybody who's subscribed today, thanks for that. Appreciate that very much. If you're watching on replay, feel free to leave a comment. Any questions you've had. Hopefully we'll get a minute here to do a bit of an art show before we wind up. Because I know you guys just dropped in here, but I've been going. We've been we've got a 2-hour stream going here, so yeah, I like it right there. It's good. That's how you save all your money so you can afford the nice big workshop later, right? Alrighty, well, let's have a look at the, let's do the art show. So we just got a little bit of media out and splashed a little gel markers and some watercolor paint and a bit of the Neocolor 2 crayon. So it's dried down a little bit. The yellow-green lost its intensity a bit. That pink, that comes up, and we'll do something with that in days to come. We started with this just orange and yellow and all kinds of intense colors. Yeah, Kitty Tex got paid before the live stream, but we'll go find a cat toy and play mouse for a while. And then we finished up with this piece that uses some of the Daniel Smith colors, the Rhodonite Genuine and the Quinacridone Sienna, and we've got a little bit of the Schminky Potter's Pink over here in the corner. So just some colors to brighten us up on this winter day. Well, I hope you all will take some time, and thank you. Got some compliments from the chat here. Thank you very much. It was lovely to spend time with you all. I hope that you will, in your own space, dig out some art supplies, get a pencil, get a pen, get a coloring book. Just find something to spend a little time, unwind your mind and relax a little bit. And we will see you next time. Thanks everybody for coming in. Bye Ernest, bye Dan, bye Jody. Bye everybody.